Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare. Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare. Brahma Aila Tvara Pala Chan Naila Krishnere. Brahma Aila Tvara Pala Chanaila Krishnere. Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare. Brahma Aila Tvara Pala Chanaila Krishnere. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Please chant. Ist ein bisschen laut, oder? Hey, Bhagavad Gita. Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare. Brahma Aile Tvara Pala Chanaila Krishnere.
Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare. Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare. Brahma Aile Tvara Pala Chanaila Krishnere. Brahma Aile Tvara Pala Chanaila Krishnere. Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare. Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare. Brahma Aila Tvara Pala Chanaila Krishnere.
Brahma Aile Tvara Pala Chanaila Krishnere. Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare. Brahma Aile Tvara Pala Chanaila Krishnere.
Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare. Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare. Brahma Aila Tvara Pala Chanaila Krishnere.
Brahma Aile Tvara Pala Chanaila Krishnere.
Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare. Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare. Brahma Aila Tvara Pala Chanaila Krishnere. Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare.
Ekadina Tvarakate Krishna de Kibare. Brahma Aile Tvara Pala Chanaila Krishnere. Okay, one thing I would say, because it's for me it sounds a little bit strange with this thing. I suggest always, when you put the settings on the lecture, maybe one can go outside and check just how it comes outside of the live stream with the telephone.
Because when I did the Japa workshop, somebody wrote that the sound was very bad with this what do you call it,
Tabu, come.
The quality of the microphone is not as good as with these.
Okay.
Volume should be fine now on that stream.
you said the sound,
Yeah, that
the
should-
sound is very bad.
Yeah, most of the time. I rechecked it, it's okay.
It's okay, Bjorn just checked it, it's okay. Okay. Ekadina. One day. Tvarakate. In Tvaraka. Krishna de Kibare. To see Krishna. Brahma Aila. Lord Brahma came. Tvara Pala. The doorman Chanaila informed Krishnere, Lord Krishna, Translation. Once when Krishna was ruling Dwarka, Lord Brahma came to see him, and the doorman immediately informed Lord Krishna of Brahma's arrival. So we go to text 60. Krishna kahina kon Brahma kinama tahare tvari asi brahmare puche arabare. Translation. When Krishna was so informed, he immediately asked the doorman, "Which Brahma? What is his name?" The doorman therefore returned and questioned Lord Brahma. And there we have a purport. From this verse we can understand that Brahma is the name of the post, and that the person occupying the post has a particular name also. From the Bhagavad Gita, Imam Viva Vasve Yogam Vishvasvan is the name of the present predominating deity of the sun. He is generally called Surya, the sun god, but he also has his own particular name. The governor of the state is generally called Rajapala, but he also has his own individual name. Since there are hundreds and thousands of Brahmas with different names, Krishna wanted to know which of them had come to see him. Om Agnanati Manasya Knananchana Shlakya Chakshurmidam Yena Tasmai Shigirave Namaha Sri Caitanya Manopistam Stavidam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupagadamayam Dadati Swavarantikam Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we heard already last Saturday, we already spoke about this subject matter where Brahma visits Dwarka and there meets Krishna, where Krishna is residing, and Brahma want to have an audience, and then he comes to the doorman, and the doorman reports back, Vishnu or Krishna is asking, which Brahma? And this gave quite some distress to Brahma, who thought actually he is the one and only and the best of Brahmas. And since we now plundering into this whole pastime, I don't want to repeat this pastime again, because we will see how it unfolds. But this point what Prabhupada makes here is quite important, that we understand that all positions in this material universe, they occupied by different personalities. And these personalities, they have a name. So you can apply for the post of Brahma or any other post in this universe. Like, it's now, I'm sorry to say it again, but it's now obvious that we go again to Mr. Knaus. Who doesn't know who's the Knaus company? No? You don't know? Did you come here by car? Or how you came here? When you enter into Jandelsbrunn, there comes a big company. They're producing caravans. Right? So they are, this is Knaus Tappert, they are called now. And as the story goes, many years ago, there was Mr. Knaus, and he produced a caravan. And from this caravan, that was the Adi caravan, the first caravan ever. And it was quite a nice caravan, and so therefore Mr. Knaus decided, I make many caravans. And then he found out he cannot do it by himself, he has to get some help. And there he collected some helpers, and these helpers became kind of administrators. And then as the company expanded, he needed more administrators and different corners. He put different sections or departments, and they had different department heads, right? And so let's say the department of development, or this is a good department, the department who puts the wheels on the caravan, for example. So that's the wheel department. And probably the department head maybe is called the wheeler. Let's see like that. So the wheeler, in the company he's known as the wheeler. Right? When everybody, I need, what kind of wheels go on this caravan? Right? And then they say, somebody's asking in Knaus. And then they say, go and ask the wheeler. Okay, he knows who's the wheeler. It's obvious. So he goes there and asks the wheeler. But when the wheeler goes at home to his wife, she doesn't call him wheeler. Maybe she does. But normally he has a name. They all call Sepp here or something. Sepp. Or they have many Czech people working here that calls, I don't know, what's the Czech typical Czech name? You from where you are, Mataji? From where? Oh, Ukraine, okay. Australia. So you don't have, you don't know many Czech people. Cool. Let's say Slatko. Or is it a Czech name? You from Czech?
I'm from Czech, Stanislav.
Stanislav. That's an elaborated Czech name. Okay. So they called him Sepp or Stanislav. Right? And Stanislav became the wheeler. So he occupied this post. And the order that he occupied this post has to do something with the fact that Stanislav, or Sepp, he has a certain qualification to perform the role of a wheeler, who puts the wheels on that, So this has to be there. There has to be certain qualifications occupied by the soul in this particular incarnation to fulfill the task of being the wheeler. So now, as we put this in our universe, if you want to become Lord Brahma, you have to have certain qualifications. What do you think is a good qualification if you want to apply for the post of Lord Brahma? What you should bring? Intelligence, a little bit? A lot of intelligence. So much intelligence that you need, at least in this universe, how many heads? 4 heads to bring all this intelligence in, right? You cannot have only just 1 head. You have to have 4 heads. What else?
Maybe one lives 300 years as celibate.
300
lives as celibate.
300 lives as celibate, okay. What else? Okay, maybe compassion.
As a leader of the universe?
I don't know so many pastimes where we see the compassion nature of Lord Brahma. But okay, why not? Maybe compassion is always good. What else? I mean, intelligence, celibate, okay, but he has to. What is his task? What? Organization, okay. He should be a good organizer, administrator. What else?
He should be able to create.
Yeah, he has to have creativity, right? He has to be kind of, Vishnu gives him all the ingredients. But Brahma, he has to kind of bring these ingredients together. So he has to figure out, okay, what kind of things does certain creatures need in this universe? Therefore, the gopis, they're complaining about Brahma. They say Brahma actually is complete fool. Why he's a fool?
Because he created the eyelids and they cannot see Krishna when they blink.
This is just one thing that he created eyelids, but on top of it, What was his Jai, Shishi Palat Lakshmi Shingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai? What was his first fault? He just gave to the persons who attend to see Krishna, who have the desire to see Krishna, he gave them only 2 eyes. He should have given them 1,000,000 eyes. Then Lord Indra came in place, but that's a different story. He should give them 1,000,000 eyes. Why only 2 eyes? This Brahma, he has no intelligence. He has no taste. Because we want to see Krishna with only 2 eyes. Right? But on top of it, Lord Brahma, he has a kind of a master plan, how everything should be different bodies, different machines in this world with different functions, with different senses. Right? So he's very creative. What else does he have? Or should have? Huh? Diplomacy. Okay, which pastime you thinking of where you see he's diplomatical? I think diplomacy I would put more in the corner of Vishnu. Because Vishnu has to be sometimes very diplomatic, for example, to keep the bones what Brahma gave intact. For example, Hiranyakashipu. What? And when he has to deal with demons, in order of his creation, what Brahma does if he suddenly finds out he made some demons. Because Brahma makes mistakes also.
He takes shelter of the Lord.
Huh?
He takes shelter of the Lord. Therefore, he needs to be a devotee of the Lord also.
Yeah, he gave them up. He chased them away. So Brahma, he also makes mistakes. Anything else? What he can have? If you would apply for the Lord of Brahma, what do you think? What you could write in your, how you call CV? What you write in your CV? I am intelligent. I'm so intelligent, I need 4 heads. I'm creative. Okay, sure, I could. Gute Führungstätigkeit. Yeah, means he has to be ein gutes Beispiel. A good example. But actually, Brahma is not so much a leader. Because he's not so much a kshatriya. He's more handcraftsman. Okay, so we have some functions when we would apply as the post of Brahma, what we could do. But actually, we all have these qualities in us. Because it's said, when we enter into matter, we first come in the form of Lord Brahma. And we are creating. We have all this capacity. We have intelligence. We come with so much intelligence. Because what is the greatest enemy of intelligence? Ignorance resulting of what? What? Okay. Yes, who said ego? Yes. Ego is the greatest enemy of intelligence, of pure intelligence. Because when we have intelligence, it's quite a pure tool to get things done, to create, for example, or to be not bewildered. Intelligence is the thing what keeps us actually away from wrath. Because Bhagavad Gita explains us when we are overpowered by our sensory activities, and especially when they're not getting fulfilled, then what happened? But in between, before it comes to rough, what is covered? Intelligence is lost. Right? And then we become very, hateful, wrathful, angry. Right? So in this moment where, and what actually brings us off that we too much indulged in sense life? What element is it again? Yeah, but lust results from what? Huh? Huh? Yeah, but where desires comes from? You were already on the right path. You still are, but I want to come back to the yes?
Meditating on sense objects.
Yeah, but what lets us meditate on sense objects? Huh? Ego, yes. It's again the ego, what stands in our way. So the ego tells us, you are so great, you deserve it. You deserve it. Right? And therefore, we think to use the senses, what we got, it's our birthright. It's our birthright. We have the right to use our senses. Right? Therefore we came here. Therefore we chose matter over spirit. Because we want to have a set of senses. And the set of senses gives us great pleasure. Who can deny it? Who would say the senses don't give us pleasure?
When in some or in was unterm Strich herauskommt, does it reduce our pleasure?
Was?
When we can choose between senses and ananda or Satchit Ananda, it's not giving us pleasure, it's taking away pleasure.
Yeah, but I mean, with your tongue, is it not nice to eat nice prasadam?
Well, when you get drowned and you get lifted up, is it not nice to get lifted up? It says in examples for this.
I don't understand your example.
When it says sukha dukkha is like getting drowned almost until dying, and then you get lifted up outside the water again. This man is like getting some air, and it feels very pleasant for this moment, but this is so much less than ananda, just spiritual bliss. And yes, it tastes well, I guess, but you need to go to the toilet and all these things.
Yeah, sure, but in the end, your senses are meant to give you pleasure, first of all. They're very pleasurable, therefore we're holding on to the senses, otherwise why we should use them. We have senses to give us pleasure. And through this senses, to this pleasure, what we gain through the senses, we think we get ananda. We experience ananda through the sense pleasure. This is why we are here. And we try to be always on top of it. We always try to use our senses to give us more pleasure. The whole world, all advertisement industry is made out of more and more pleasure for your senses. They're aiming at your senses. That's their target. They know exactly what color you will see when they do an advertisement. There's nothing by chance. They're exactly experts to use color, to use sound, to use smell. They do in supermarkets, they're spreading smell just to create your appetite, even if you just ate. We were on book distribution in Bonn. Still remember, I don't know, in the Christmas market, there was a little booth with a lady inside, and she was selling like bonbons. Yeah? Bonbons, different kind of bonbons. You know what is bonbons like how you say in English bonbons? Huh? Candy sweets. Yeah, candy sweets. Maybe you know her. She was always in the Fußgängerzone. And on the back was just a little booth. In the back she had like a little Auspuff, like a little, how to say, she had some steam coming out there. And there she had some kind of very fragrant eucalyptus. It smelled in the whole Fußgängerzone. What is this eucalyptus coming? And then you looked, and then you saw this booth, and then you go to her and buy some candies from her. She used this also on she tried also to attract people by smell. But this advertisement people, they are much more aimed on senses we even don't aware that we have them. Because they are creating desires, we even don't have this desire yet. So they creating desires. What we actually only have, maybe we're not aware of this desire. But they can awaken it. That's advertisement. And they are aiming to keep us entangled in this sense pleasure. Therefore, they don't like, in this Fußgängerzone, they don't like that devotees are there because they try to get people out of sense gratification. Therefore, when you stand in front of a big bookstore or something with your books, they don't like that because there's all books about getting out of the Fußgängerzone. Yeah, so we have the senses, and we're very attached to our senses. But if somebody want to take our sense gratification away, then we become very angry. And this ego platform with which we enter into this world, this ego is kind of like a vehicle. If we would not have ego when we come into material world would not make sense. So we have to get this false ego. We get this as a suit, as a package. Okay, that's the material world. Here's the key for it. It's called ego. And with this ego key, you can unlock all the secrets of matter. And you come in all kinds of circumstances where you can use this ego to get more out of matter. The first thing when you enter into business world, what they tell you? You want to be successful, what do you have to do? Huh? Work hard, but even more important is, as soon as possible,
you must be convinced. You must read those 4 books or 5.
Yeah, but even before you have to be convinced. But what you have to do? Huh? Confidence in yourself. Yeah, but yourself. Then, when you mean yourself, what does it imply? There are other people around you. You have to stand out, and how is the best way to stand out?
Take place.
Huh?
Take a lot of place. Take space.
If you want to stand out, you hammer everybody down who's around you, that you can stand out. So first of all, kill all your opponents. This is what Bhagavad Gita says in 16th chapter. That's a demonic mentality. Just kill everybody who's in your way. And this is what they call it, I don't know nowadays, but in my times they called Ellenbogengesellschaft. Make your space. And for this, to do this, you need so much ego. How otherwise you can do that? How otherwise you can be so dare to kind of put everybody else down? So this ego, it's very important, because without it, it makes not much sense. Of course, we know it's not the real ego. It's like a covering of the ego. But this is what we all get, and this is what we see here of Lord Brahma, who comes there and says, wait a second, am I not the only Brahma? Am I not the only ego here? Is there some other egos here? And this is exactly the point where we have to be careful, because since we know that we have an ego, we also have to know how to kind of engage this ego. What would be good ways? Who has the ego? Okay. So we all of us, we have this ego. Who thinks this ego is in our way? Whom stands the ego in the way? How does it stand in your way, Takuchi?
It is always, for example, it is always like trying to push oneself higher than someone else.
To see faults in others?
Yes, for example.
Okay. Bjorn?
To identify with the mind, and then I absorb myself not in spiritual activities, but mundane emotions.
In mind activities. Yeah. Yeah. That's how.
Es zerstört die Beziehungen mit Leuten. Freunden.
Okay, it destroys the relationship with other people, like friends. Ist das eine Meldung oder zeigst du mir dein Telefon?
Ja, guck mal, iPhone 12.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it hides my real problems behind some bullshit.
Okay, yeah. It hides our actual nature. We hiding behind our ego. Very good point. Gita?
Keeps us from being humble and actually developing emotional service.
Yes. How does it feel?
Frustrating.
Really? Can sometimes the ego feel quite good?
I mean, in the moment, yes, but afterwards.
Yeah. The ego can feel very good, or sometimes we very much can be proud and yes, I achieved it. It was me. Especially in sport, especially the ego comes out in which guna the ego is most present. I mean, most for you. Have passion, yes, of course. And in passion, it's kind of it's kind of an ego competition, right? I don't want to say anything, but if you do sports like football, playing football, something, the ego comes out. I shoot this door, I'm better than you, I did this. We did it. We as a team. We as a nation. Right? So it's all part of our ego. We identify with this ego, and this ego makes us identifying with this kind of team, with this kind of nation, with this kind of success. And we want to hide behind this, right? We want to hide behind the success of the ego because it feels so good. It feels so wonderful to achieve something. But that's all matter. That's all we hiding behind matter because it's not belonging to us. To whom belongs matter? Huh? What? The Lord. Yeah, in the ultimate sense, who's the master of matter? Huh? Durga Devi. And who's Durga Devi? Radharani, yeah. So what happens if we try to take the consort of the Lord away?
You lose the something of the Lord, some relationship to the Lord. You spoil the relationship to the Lord.
I think you spoil it a lot. It happened to Ravan, right? He tried to take Sita Rani away. So this is actually our battle, and therefore Sita or Radharani, she appears in the form of Durga, very fierce, very violent, and always when we reach out, she cuts our hands, and we get some sort of punishment. But because the ego is like a child, you try to teach the child, and sometimes you have to use punishment, right? But even if it's punished, the child tries it again. if the child knows there are the sweets. You can't help it. It has to go again for the sweets, because the senses, they're so strong. And therefore, this is our biggest weakness. And therefore, when we come in the association of egoistic people, of ego people, we can't help then to just go with the flow. It's just, it will not work. We can't go against ego, because ego creates ego. If I come in the association of egoistic people, or who even more egoistic than I'm already, or they're just creating more ego. Therefore, association is so strong. Therefore, Prabhupada says, if you want to be a businessman, you have to be in the association of other businessmen. What kind of businessman? Successful businessmen. Otherwise, it makes no sense. If you come in the association of losers, what's the point, right? But here we see, when we understand ego creates ego, it's like it's my duty again as an administrator, as a Brahma of a temple community, for example. I have to get a point out. I have to tell Thakur. I have to tell Thakur something, right? What he maybe is neglectful of. If I come with the ego, out of whatever reason, I may be angry. I may just be angry. Or I may be, think, I'm proud maybe. And I come with this mentality and want to try to tell him this. Will he accept it? Thakur? No. But when I come in a mood of service, that I think, this poor Thakurji, nobody told him maybe, or he forgot it, but I want to help him. I want to help him in his spiritual life. I want to not just punish you, I not just want to push something in, what I think since a long time, you are like this or whatever, but now I have the opportunity to let it out. And I bring all my forces together and bring it out. What will happen out of this power? Action, reaction. Right? You will kind of yell back at me. Right? So, ego creates ego. But when I come in an association of where there's no ego, then ego decreases. So therefore our association is so valuable, because the more we try to function not on the platform of the false ego, but on the platform of the real ego as the servant. I'm your servant, you are my master. Then we automatically, my ego gets reduced. You know, if somebody, this is what happened to most of us when we came to a Hare Krishna temple. It was not, it was of course maybe the halava, it was the incense. 2 days ago, an elderly gentleman came in here. I was just finished the noon arati, and some Indians were here. They were standing here completely alone, speaking about all kinds of stuff. And then this man came, and he came right to the altar. I didn't know if he's seen the singer Dave, but he was not. He had no other aim. He just, the smell. What is the smell? I said, incense. I said, oh, where do I get him? So he wanted to have incense, because this was where he was attracted to. But mostly when we come in the association of devotees, then what is it what attracts us the most? Beside the halava or the prasadam and the incense, and what attracts us the most? Huh? Yeah, but what means nice? And he's a nice devotee. What makes someone a nice devotee? Selfless service. Yeah, serving. this attitude of service, because to be a servant means I cannot have much ego. You know, what ego has a servant? Sometimes servants they have an ego. Oh, I serve this master. My master is better than your master, right? But if you're a real servant, you kind of have no ego. There's a very wonderful points in this book of Shuddha Prabhu. I think it's called "What's the Difficulty?" It's about Prabhupada, and there in one section of his book he describes points of what he realized to be an ideal servant, because he was the servant of Srila Prabhupada for a long time, and then he wrote some realizations down what means to be an ideal servant. And one of the points is, don't stand in the way of your master. Don't create anything to try to get yourself up. You know, not to kind of, like in the example of the spiritual master, oh, Guruji, I have a very important question. And Guruji, I have a doubt here. So you actually make the master your servant. You use him for your sense gratification. See, that's Guruji. He's with me. Everybody see. Guruji, me. Me, Guruji. Me. Go, Guruji. Me, it's me. I'm asking the questions. Right? So that's the not right mentality of a servant. So we don't stand in the way of the master. We try to make space that he can fulfill his mission. That means servant. Therefore, you have even the king of Jagannath Puri. When there's Ratha Yatra, he goes in front of the Ratha cart, and brooms the street. He makes space that the master can go, right? So when we come in the association of selfless servants, we ourselves develop this mentality because we're very attracted to it. Because suddenly, what cleanses through this action of selfless service? What cleanses through it? What is it what we can see in this moment? Yeah, and love is the power of, Yeah, but this is the power of what? Love and selfless service is the power, is the potency of the soul, is the potency of the real ego. The real ego is the real soul, the eternal servant of the servants of the lotus feet of the maintainer of the gopis, Lord Sri Krishna. This is what we are. This is what the soul is. The soul is composed out of love, completely dedicated to his master, to the highest truth. But with a very special feature, freedom. And this freedom is the source of love. There would be no love without freedom. There would be no freedom without love. So because the Lord gives us this freedom, He let us choose. You want to have the right ego, or you want to have the false ego. You choose matter, or you choose spirit. You choose the association of selfless servants, or you choose the association of selfless servants of their own senses. And the more we serve matter, what happens when we serve matter?
We get entangled.
Entangled in what?
In reactions.
What happens to matter? What is the nature of matter? Huh? Temporary, yeah. So what does it mean? Yes. Because matter is always changing. Matter is dying and is taking birth again and is dying again. So if we identify with dying matter, what happens to us? We die. We die all the time. We die several times a day. When our aims doesn't get fulfilled, we're dying. So many, we were so proud of our accomplishment. We were so proud we had a new car. We got a new BMW. We're so proud of it. And then our neighbor comes with a Tesla. We're dying. We're dying. And it happens so many times. Right? You go to the supermarket, you think, I have the perfect spot. I'm the next one on the tilt. And suddenly the lady on the tilt, she turns the right letter and said, doo-doo. The tilt number 1 is closed. And So that's the nature of matter. Suddenly everything changes. We built a wonderful house in North Carolina. And then you hear, Helena is coming. Who knows who's Helena?
Storm.
Yeah, the storm is a very terrible storm. Right? So that's the nature. That's the nature, and we die all the time with it. And because of that, what is our constant situation? What's our constant mindset? We are completely afraid of everything, of matter. So it's our choice. We have freedom. Freedom comes together with love. No love, no freedom. No freedom, no love. And because the Lord loves us, He gives us this freedom. You do whatever you want. This is what He says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Now I told you everything. You know everything now. Now you decide. So He gives it back to Arjuna. A good counselor never tells you what to do. He shows you options and he gives you the ball back in your corner because you have to make the choice. Right? So same thing, the Lord gives us the freedom to make our own choice. We can never say it was the Lord. We can never in any time, in any circumstances, we can say it's the fault of somebody else. It's always our own fault because we had the freedom to choose. So that's our position. And therefore, when we are in communities, we have to be aware of this fine tactics, how a community is functioning. We have to understand the more we bring matter in, the more it becomes a temporary, fearful situation. The more we bring spirit in, it more becomes a loving, serving situation. So the more we consciously try to put our ego, our false ego aside and try to develop our right ego, our loving service capacity, the more we can influence the people around us. We become influencers. Right? So, and the more we associate or we bring this spirit in the community, the more this community will thrive. But be careful. The moment you come in and think, now I'm going to lift up this community by speaking only Krishna Katha. When I ever hear somebody speaking about some mundane things, I will come in, ta-da, Super Bhakta. Did you know Mahaprabhu? And I'm bringing you the light. Yes, everybody is. But because we actually, the ego can feel if it's right ego or if it's false ego. And if somebody comes with a false attitude, you feel it. It doesn't feel right. You doesn't feel uplifted. You feel suppressed. Even if somebody comes with the spiritual hammer. So service is not only, it's not what I think, it's this what Krishna thinks, and to apply the situation in the right space. For example, Srila Prabhupada, there's the story when he went to the Bhaktivedanta manor and he went for morning walk. He always met a gardener, an elderly man of his age. And Prabhupada met him every morning, and he always told him, you have very nice teeth. Oh, very nice teeth. My teeth all gone, all rotten. Prabhupada said about his teeth. So he appreciated the person's teeth. He could go to this person and said, you old man, you should worship Krishna, you should make sense out of your life and surrender. Why you don't surrender? The temple is here, donated by George Harrison. And no, he told him about his teeth. And this man, he was so pleased because Prabhupada just flattered him because of his teeth. Because we all know Prabhupada didn't have the best teeth. Many instances, sometimes even overnight a teeth fall out and he put it in his drawer. Next morning, Hari sorry, found it and he still has the teeth of Prabhupada. He worships it on the altar, the teeth of Prabhupada. I wonder who will get it. Yeah? So, that's something, Prabhupada just, and this man, he appreciated Prabhupada just because of that. And he became very attached to it and said, that's a very decent man. He appreciates my teeth. Probably, maybe the dentist appreciated this man's teeth, but also not really, because dentists, they're getting money by fixing teeth, so what is there to appreciate? But he became very attached to Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada understood it's not, it doesn't create love if I put this person down and tell him how bad he is. No, he appreciated him. So sometimes we have to be just normal. With normal, I don't mean, we have to do all nonsense, but sometimes we have to meet the people, even devotees on the platform where they are. And if I can't do this, then leave this devotee for the second. If I don't have the power, if I don't feel the capacity, sometimes, one doesn't feel so great or whatever, one feels, okay, in the moment, I'm not feeling so strong, spiritual, uploaded myself, so why then, try to preach to somebody else? If I'm not inspired, how can I inspire somebody else? And if I'm inspired, I just have to give some association, and this person will be inspired. Even if I speak sometimes about mundane topics, because this person thinks, well, this devotees there have common sense. They're appreciating my teeth, or they're appreciating even my car. So it's a fine line where the ego comes in and goes out. As I always say, that's big realizations not worthy of a fool like me, and I myself be not always aware of which energy I'm carrying and with which energy I'm approaching different situations or even individuals or devotees. So I'm asking you, please be patient with me. I'm in process. I'm work in process. And I only can finish my work with your help. So therefore I'm asking you, please bless me with your patience and tolerance. And if you want to correct me, please do it, but do it in a nice way. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Are there any corrections? Oh.
God, my mind's become blank. Is it on? Yeah, sorry. So you spoke about acting and gave examples of the false ego acting, but how can you sort of check yourself or see the difference between acting out of false ego and out of your real ego?
It's very difficult. You can't basically, you can't see it unless you really want to see it. And even then it's difficult. But a very good tool is always before we act. You make a prayer to the Lord to serve. So that's always a good way to keep yourself out of trouble. Once I was in Vrindavan with a godbrother of mine, and he was older. Actually, he was head puchari here. We became good friends. And he was, as a grihastha, I was still brahmachari. But I was alone in Vrindavan with him. And he said, I can't eat this, you can't eat this temple food, I'm getting sick. And he always went to the MVT. And I knew also, if you go to Vrindavan for sense gratification, you will get sick. If you go to Vrindavan for ice cream and for pizza and all of this stuff, a little bit maybe, but in the moment you start to gratify your senses, Vrindavan has this nature immediately, bam, it's for Goswamis, right? So I thought, okay, I'm getting sick. I have to eat temple food because I'm a brahmachari. If I start to go to MVT, that's maybe for grihasthas, but I will get sick. But he told me, please come with me. I invite you for MVT because I don't want to eat alone. So what should I do? So I was praying. And then I got this realization, okay, I go with you to the MVT out of service, to serve you. I didn't get sick. So yeah, I had this many times. I had one time I had to mitigate between two devotees. Both were senior to me, and both I very much respected. But they ended up in a clash, in a fight, and both they kind of put it on me to solve it. And I had no idea what should I say, because if I say something in favor to the one person, the other person will be upset, and same the other side around. So I really went to Nrsingadev and asked for, please give me clarification how I can serve in this moment. And it worked. They both walked off and were satisfied. So it's always our endeavor to serve what keeps us from entering into false ego. But to see it on the spot, when the fire is on, it's very difficult. Because sometimes the false ego feels just too good. Sometimes we really like, finally I can be angry again. I have so much heat and fire, and I have to, as Prabhuji said yesterday, this cuckoo always was in this cooking in this kitchen. He was always associating with fire, and then something went wrong. He let it out. So sometimes it feels so good to let it just go, let it flow, let it burn down the universe. Right? And then you can't, even if somebody is some voice, maybe you, the soul, you say, no, don't go there, don't go there. So, no, I have to. And you find millions reasons why you have to. Right? It feels so good. And finally, finally I come out, finally, ta-da, here I am, and this and that, and boom. happened to me very often. I love to be angry.
You do it good though. So it's basically prayerfulness and trying to be conscious of what we do. Another question, but on the same point, I hope it's okay. Another aspect of the false ego that comes out, as one often sees, not just in Rajagun but in Tamagun, the sort of ignorance, it falls out often in somehow the opposite energy. Instead of anger, like, oh, I can't do it. No, I can't do that. Oh, I'd love to do this, I can't do it. Anyway, what's the point of me trying? I can't do it, I'm not going to do it. So my soul gives up in spiritual life.
Well, it's not, I mean, if you really listen, if ego comes to us in if it comes in passion, it's I will do it. I must do it. If it comes out in ignorance, it's not I can't do it, it's I don't want to do it. Because you can, but in ignorance you decide I don't want to do it. Because ignorance is bliss. So you thrive, if you thrive in passion, in ego and passion, it's kind of, it goes out. But in bliss it's like, no. That's also ego. We have the capacity to serve. Somebody is asking us, can you please do this? But we chose out of ignorance, we say no. I can't. It's just another word for I won't. I won't not. I won't do this. I don't like to do this. It's too much. I don't, So actually we could. And especially when in spiritual circles, we are asked to do something. In Chopati temple, they had a rule. You asked, I think it's thrice. You asked 3 times or 2 times? 3 times you ask for something and you say, no, I won't do it. You have to leave the ashram. That was how strict it was. Don't know if it's still like that. But it sounds like terrible, but actually it's all to create this awareness. Hey, you get a service. Hello, somebody gives you service, spiritual service. Why you don't want to do it? Right? What part of your ego blocks to do it? It's all because it's in ignorance. So, and same thing, ignorance feels bliss, feels so good sometimes. You could stand up, you could get up from Mangalati. No. It feels much better to stay sleeping. I mean, there are reasons sometimes, as Prabhuji yesterday described, you come back home late or whatever. So, but, in normal pattern, sleep or whatever, you can't do it, then it's ignorance. Sounds satisfying?
I think it's, what do you do to push beyond that state? Because I see more, in helping other devotees or trying to, you see more in that state, like this, I won't do it. But normally they don't say I won't, it's normally I can't. But I get what you mean. Underneath it's like I won't do this or won't do that even though I want to. It's this eternal block, so to say.
Yeah, we can't push people out of this block, because then it's a part of our ego. Sometimes we see somebody takes shelter in ignorance or takes shelter in passion, and we see it, but we can't do it. We can't push them out, because then it becomes our ego game. So the best thing in this moment is let this person run. Let it run into ignorance or into passion, because only the self-experience will teach that person the lesson he needs to learn. So therefore sometimes in spiritual communities things undesirable happens. Why nobody? Because nobody could stop that person from making this mistake. This person had to make the mistake to learn. And this sometimes it's kind of a, why this happened in this community. Why nobody said anything beforehand? Because nobody was able. Because this person had to make this mistake. And of course, sometimes it brings a stain on the whole community. But the longer effect, this person learned a lot. And the whole community learned a lot. But from outside point, it looks like terrible. Unless we are called in, somebody calls for our help, or we have the ability to serve in a way that we really can serve this person, sometimes not conducive to, because then we acting out of ego and it becomes our problem. We can speak over breakfast again, because it's already 9:07. I don't want to. I know it's a very important topic for communities as well, and we should explore more on this, but maybe we digest first what we got fed today. So I wish you all a blissful Khichdi experience and a wonderful day in service to the Vaishnavas, the servants of Shri Shri Prahlad Lakshmi Shingadev. Ki Chai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Chai, Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Chai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Gaur. How it goes off? How does it go off?